ASEAN Dailies. First and the foremost news from Southeast Asia.
Hey, how are you? This is Arlene.
Hi, this is Grace.
And you're still with us on our ASEAN Daily for today, 12th of July. Today we are going to discuss about the court verdict of the South China Sea between the Philippines and Beijing. Well, the verdict hasn't been out yet, maybe perhaps later today, but what we can say is Beijing is definitely worried on how the verdict would turn out to be.
Well, China has been always claiming that almost of all the South China Sea is part of them, and then we are talking about this massive island about 1,200 miles from the Chinese mainland. And of course, we still need to hear some responses of these both countries and also others around the region, but it is very significant. I will say the verdict they will be hearing from this the meeting.
Oh, definitely very significant. In fact, according to a report by CNBC, it could be the most significant geopolitical events in years. And these are according to experts when they share their opinion.
And there's an interesting report from the same news resource, CNBC, saying that China's maritime claim is intentionally ambiguous. And although the nation periodically presents maps with all the sketches of the boundaries, it looks very clear, but how they present is a bit vague in terms of...
they call it the 9-dash line, but in reality, we are not really sure how to what extent China really claim the South China Sea. And the thing is, China has refused to participate in the arbitration process, although according to a 2014 position paper from Beijing, it was seen as an unofficial argument in the matter.
Right.
But the thing about UNCLOS specifically allow for a tribunal to make legally binding decisions even if one party is absent. When you say legally binding, in this case, Philippines might be able to own the claim that that it has on the South China Sea if the verdict shows that the Philippines actually, is the rightful owner of the islands that they claim. But on the other hand, if Beijing doesn't agree with it, what would happen to China?
Well, that's an interesting question. But at the same time, what is coming from the Philippines is also that the direct negotiation with China is almost impossible. They say it's a dead end. And then the Philippines, certainly they cannot persuade China with this military might. So if that happens for Beijing, of course, to China, well, I don't know whether the power is really, will be transcending to China entirely, and then that will end up making the Philippines powerless in terms of having a South China Sea claim.
Hey, welcome back. This is Arlene.
Hi, this is Grace.
So our second piece of news is still on the South China Sea, but there's an interesting development happening around the islands in the South China Sea. As we all know, China has already set its foothold in the area there, and there's a new industry spurring up. You know what it is?
Well, of course, it will attract a lot of tourists. So, new tourism industry will spring up around South China Sea, and this is very, very interesting because, in terms of claiming the land, the territory there, it's still ongoing issue for a long time. But in terms of business-wise, tourism-wise, it's just another world they have opened up the platform-wise.
Yeah. So apparently it's really robust, the tourism there. A cruise on the Troubled Ton, South China Sea, is not just about the beautiful environment, according to one of the tourists there. It's more importantly, according to them, is about justice. So they are there not as just normal tourists, but apparently they are there as part of a patriotic cruise. So the more you visit there, according to them, the more you are you're showing your patriotism towards your own home country, in this case, China.
Right, that's right. Well, of course, there will be quite a lot of concerns regarding the making this land and also to attract a lot of tourists here, because it's not only about China we're talking about. Of course, it involves all the 10 countries in ASEAN, as well as we all have mentioned in the previous news about this specific verdict between the Philippines and China.
And this is also part of the way for China to show that it doesn't really respect or even care about the Permanent Court of Arbitration in the Hague, which will be showing its verdict today on the South China Sea.
Well, if you think about that development plans around the South China Sea, according to China, and this is coming from the Australian news, there is a very beautiful deep water Yalong Bay to the east, and then there are like a lot of scattered islands. High-end resort hotels are operated by the Banyan Tree, Hilton, Marriott, Sheraton, and Ritz-Carlton as well. So it is really good position and also location to attract families and friends to come and enjoy their sea sports, and also a lot of activities that can be done around the area.
And China has a supporter, Cambodia's Prime Minister Hun Sen, and of course, Cambodia is one of the strongest allies for China in the ASEAN countries. And he said he will not support any judgment by the court in The Hague. He's generally backed by Communist Laos, this year's ASEAN chairman, whose theme is turning vision into reality for a dynamic ASEAN community. Hi, this is Arlene.
Hi, this is Grace.
And welcome back to our ASEAN Dailies on Current Affairs. Besides South China Sea, what are the biggest issue that is really impacting Southeast Asia is regarding on ISIS?
That's right. And another updates coming from ISIS, apart from our news yesterday, is about they have just launched a newspaper to recruit Southeast Asian fighters.
That is really interesting. I think their media department is probably one of the largest. That the fact that they have time to write newspapers.
That's right, and I believe that their PR skills, even publication skills, are increasingly. They're improving, and also the appeal to the Southeast Asians is also increasing.
So this is actually a report written by Berita Harian, a local Malaysian newspaper. The publication that is created by the Islamic State is called Al-Fatihin. It was later cited by Malay Mail regarding on the publication is supposed to increase its appeal to jihadis to join the ISIS movement in Southeast Asia.
So there will be a lot of articles, of course, and then the articles will be based on the updates from Iraq, Syria, and they will mainly written in Indonesian language. So this serving of this jihadist at Al-Fatihin will look for the target its supporters from Malaysia, Indonesia, Brunei, Singapore, Southern Thailand, and Southern Philippines.
Wow. They are really transnational when it comes to recruitment. And the newspaper for Malay-speaking migrants in the Islamic State is definitely something that perhaps they have been thought about it for quite some time, and they have been quite active as well. If you look at the recent bombings in Indonesia, Malaysia, and a couple of other larger cities in Southeast Asia, we can see that there's a trend in ISIS looking of creating more recruitment in the region.
That's right. And there was a research paper published last month at Al-Fatihin. It's called Islamic State's first Malay language newspaper.
Wow.
and then, of course, despite all those differences and a lot of diversity in Southeast Asia, these Southeast Asian jihadists have the common logos, and such a Malay-speaking jihadist should act as one, according to them.
Wow. And the thing is, there's a growing fear of ISIS encroachment in the region.
Right.
Different militant group in Southeast Asia has pledged allegiance to ISIS, including the Mujahideen in central Sulawesi, Abu Sayyaf, the infamous Abu Sayyaf in the southern Philippines. Also, the recent terrorist attacks in Malaysia and Indonesia has blamed sympathizers and supporters of ISIS with links to jihadis of Malaysian and Indonesia in Syria.
That's all from our ASEAN Daily today. Thank you for tuning into 3 ASEAN. For more updates on Southeast Asia, please go to our website at 3ASEAN.com. If you're on the go, you can always download our TuneIn app on your mobile. Please subscribe to our YouTube channels at 3 ASEAN and 3 ASEAN TV. Don't forget to follow us on our Facebook page, Twitter, and Instagram.